Are we talking about Kenny Stabler best?
We are. All right. Let's do
well,
this.
you sign his thing, and I can actually run the show a little bit.
Ken Stabler, huh?
Oh, extremely well. After his career was over.
Yeah.
Really, during his career, he was on another team, and I didn't know him at Alabama. But we played in a lot of. He came to Colorado a lot for charity golf events, and we hung out at NFL events. And I don't know, we gravitated to each other because if you were to get an old photo of me and Kenny Stabler was playing, there was a time when we looked very much alike.
Thank you, Les.
That's hard to believe, but he would always talk to me about. Kenny had some issues, and he was stopped occasionally by police officers. And one time he told me that he told the police officer, he said, the police officer said, if you can come up with a better excuse than you have the other times, I'll let you go. And he said, well, my wife left me for a state trooper. And I thought when you started chasing me that you were that state trooper, you were trying to bring her back. and he said, and he let me go.
Wow.
That's good.
Now, Woody, did you follow me on this? Did you know the writer Robert F. Jones for Sports Illustrated in the 70s?
He's a golf writer, horse racing editor.
He also did an amazing piece on Stabler, and as a young sports writer, it was and is one of my favorite pieces I ever read. 1977, Robert F. Jones, called "Getting Nowhere Fast." And he spent a bunch of days with Stabler down in Foley, Alabama, his hometown, and he met the wickedly wonderful Wanda, his mistress or girlfriend at the time, and it was just a delightful
Or the
piece.
wife that ran off with the state trooper.
Yeah, exactly. And, I wasn't alive when Stabler played, but just reading that story, and I recommend anybody, just type in Stabler Getting Nowhere Fast. It'll be the best read you read all month except for
Well, he was the ultimate Raider, wasn't he? Because he was the ultimate renegade. And that's how Raiders fans and Raiders Nation views itself, as renegades.
There are two quarterbacks that I really did get to know after their careers, and they really paralleled each other almost in what they did. And that was Jim McMahon and Kenny Stabler. If you think about two kind of party guys, two guys that were mavericks, that
rogue.
You remember that Jim McMahon in New Orleans at the Super Bowl mooned a helicopter, and he continues to play golf in flip-flops with spikes on them, and he's had concussion problems, and Kenny Stabler had colon cancer. He was doing a lot of Alabama pregame and postgame kind of stuff, and I was on a talk show with him in the last year or so. And he was, I found him to be a fascinating guy. He was sort of Joe Namath light in Alabama.
Or Joe Namath South, if you want. I know Joe Namath played at Alabama, but he became Broadway Joe. But Kenny Stabler, even though he went out west, was always like
kept
a
those
southern
roots.
quarterback.
And we just had a conversation on Around the Horn. Was that the last great nickname for a quarterback?
The Snake.
Who else had the nickname?
Jake Plummer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was Brian.
Yeah, but you know what? Anybody who's named Jake has the nickname Snake.
You
for
brought it
some
up,
reason.
Broadway Joe. That was a great nickname. I mean, we had one of the announcers called Peyton Manning the sheriff.
You
John
called
Gruden.
him the Surgeon General.
Yeah, but he really never had. Peyton's
no
never had
nickname
a good
has stuck
nickname.
with him.
Well, Andrew Luck doesn't have a nickname.
No.
They don't call him AL.
What they call Brett Favre, the gunslinger?
Yeah, but it's got to be.
Does that work?
Even me, I was right there. I was like, did they call him that? Like, I couldn't even remember.
Yeah.
A nickname's got to be just.
Yeah, and if you said while he was playing with the old Oakland Raiders, and people forget he finished his career with Houston. He went from Oakland to Houston and had, I think, 3 or 4 good years.
He got
there.
traded for Dan Pastorini.
Oh wow.
Huh. And Dan Pastorini's wife, who lives in Denver, Dino.
Yep.
Oh well. Yeah.
Who dated Peter Balls. Let me just keep
Don't
going farther and farther
keep
into
going.
the weeds. But when you said the Snake, if you said Broadway Joe, oh yeah.
Right.
If you said the Snake, until Plummer came along, people would go, yeah.
What about Elway?
You know why he was
when
called?
we say the Duke of Denver, does that stick?
Yeah, he was the Duke. Yeah, but it wasn't national, but here. Do you know why he was called the Snake?
No.
His junior high coach said he can run 200 yards a game, but it only amounts to 63 yards in the box score because he would.
That's
he
kind of like Jake Plummer.
You were talking about before you lived, but in the old days, you saw a lot more crisscrossing of the field.
Yeah,
the
Archie
guys
Manning
would
famously.
go back and
Fran
forth
Tarkenton.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So anyway,
All right, first,
I thought he was an outstanding quarterback.
we're going to talk
get
more
the next
about him in
question.
just a second. Harmony Foundation is Colorado's premier treatment program for drug and alcohol addiction. Speaking of Kenny Stabler, located just outside of Estes Park on a private 45-acre mountain campus, insurance friendly. So visit HarmonyFoundationInc.com.